Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I am delighted to rise in support of this motion moved by my friend and colleague, the member for Brisbane, to reaffirm Labor's unwavering commitment to driving economic equality for Australian women. The World Economic Forum's 2025 Global Gender Pay Gap report has seen Australia jump 11 places in the global rankings in the last 12 months to 13th position. That's out of 148 countries for gender equality. This is Australia's highest ever ranking since the index began back in 2008. For Labor, gender equality is not an optional extra. It's fundamental to fairness, to prosperity and to building a stronger nation. From day one, this government has placed women's social and economic equality at the centre of everything we do. Over the past decade of coalition government, women were left behind. Under the coalition, Australia's gender equality ranking collapsed to 50th place on that 148 list of countries. That was, I shouldn't have to say, the lowest Australia has ever been. And thanks to Labor, we are now up to the 13th, as I said, the highest we have ever been. But don't for one moment think we're resting on our laurels. Why shouldn't we be number one? And that's the ambition of all of us on this side of the House. The Labor government spent our first term delivering major reform to improve the lives of Australian women, including expanding paid parental leave to 24 weeks and, for the first time, adding superannuation to that paid parental leave, strengthening retiring incomes and recognising the value of care work. Families accessing paid parental leave are now nearly $12,000 better off compared to what they were prior to us coming to office. 3 consecutive increases to the minimum wage, lifting the pay rates of nearly 3 million Australians. And guess what? The majority of those on minimum wage are women, and in sectors like care, retail and early education. So backing in those wage increases is critical to lifting the economic security of women. Commencing the Commonwealth Paid Prac Payment Scheme for the teachers, nurses, midwives and social work students, all of whom are overwhelmingly women. So easing that financial pressure during mandatory placements is critical, and investing in the professions that all of our communities rely on. And these reforms are already making a difference in communities like mine in Newcastle, where thousands of students and young families stand to benefit. But that's just part of Labor's agenda. Since 2022, we have delivered record lows for the gender pay gap. Just last week, the ABS released data that women in full-time work are earning more than $250 more each week than they were 3 years ago. That's a good thing. And encouragingly, that data shows that the women's workforce participation has also hit a record high, growing to 63.5%. First time for Australia. We've delivered cheaper childcare for over 1 million families because affordability is key to women's workforce participation. And historic economic investments in women's health, including cheaper contraceptions. Let's put on contraceptions that, women should have been able to access on the PBS, 2 of those. First time in 30 years, new listings on the PBS. That is a good thing. New Medicare items for menopause care, for expanded endometriosis and pelvic pain clinics. We've delivered more than $4 billion in women's safety because true equality is impossible while violence against women persists. And an historic parliament and cabinet where, for the first time for a cabinet to be majority women, proving that representation matters. We've also delivered Australia's first national gender equality strategy, Working for Women, setting out a 10-year roadmap across safety, economic security, health, leadership and care. But we know that challenges remain for Australian women. There is not a single woman on this side of that House, and I suspect across the House, to be frank, that thinks that we can just say job done and move on. We know that these challenges remain. Rates of gender violence, for example, remain far too high. Too many women still do not feel the full benefit of these reforms in their daily lives. And that's why we're delivering our delivery for Australian women remains very much the focus of our second term. We are auditing the Commonwealth systems to prevent financial abuse, embedding a gender lens in housing and industry policy, and continuing to strengthen women's leadership and representation. This government remains steadfast in its commitment to ensuring that all women in every part of the nation have the fundamental rights of safety, equality, dignity and opportunity. That's what this motion seeks to do. I'm proud to support it.